For most businesses, the HVAC system feels like just another bill you have to pay, a fixed cost of keeping the lights on. But what if I told you it's actually one of the biggest, most overlooked financial levers you can pull? Today, we're going to talk about how to transform that hidden cost center into a really powerful asset. Let's dive in.
So let me start with a direct question for you. Is your building's HVAC system an asset, something that's actively working for your bottom line? Or is it a hidden liability, just quietly draining resources day after day? I want you to keep that question in your head as we start to dig into some of these numbers.
Okay, to get a sense of the scale here, just look at this. The U.S. Energy Information Administration found that a whopping 32% of all energy used in commercial buildings goes to space heating alone. And that's before you even add in ventilation and cooling. It's pretty clear. HVAC is almost always the single biggest slice of your energy pie.
Now here's a number that's, well, it's pretty staggering. A major study from Lawrence Berkeley National Lab found that on any given day, 40% of commercial air handling units have some kind of reported fault. I mean, think about that for a second. This isn't some rare, unlucky event. It's the everyday reality for almost half the systems out there.
But here's the good news, here's the upside. The Department of Energy estimates that just by getting a handle on these issues, we're talking about focused operations and maintenance, you can save between 5 and 20% on your energy bills. That is a huge return for not having to make a massive capital investment.
So what does all this underperformance actually cost you? Well, it's a lot more than just a higher energy bill. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the hidden financial impacts.
This quote right here just nails the core of the problem. You see, HVAC systems rarely fail in a big, catastrophic way overnight. Instead, what happens is they drift. Their performance slowly gets worse and worse, little faults just hang around, and you end up paying this hidden tax on your business. It shows up as wasted energy, more comfort complaints, and equipment that wears out way faster, leading to those big, expensive emergency repairs.
So, you might be asking, why is this hidden tax so common? Well, it's not by accident. It's actually the direct result of a systemic problem that's kind of baked into the entire industry, what we call the reactive maintenance trap. And this data from the Department of Energy shows you exactly why. Over half, 55% of all maintenance is reactive. That's the run-it-till-it-breaks model. Meanwhile, predictive maintenance, the smart stuff where the real value is, it's just a tiny sliver. And this isn't an anomaly. This is the market's default setting.
And this is so crucial to understand. Ending up in this reactive cycle isn't some kind of personal failure. It's the market's default mode. No facility leader on the planet wants this outcome, but it's the inevitable result when the standard approach is just to check a few boxes.
Okay, so if the default mode is a trap, what's the alternative? How do we get out of it? Well, it's time to move beyond that basic, simple checklist and really embrace what we call professional stewardship.
A great place to start is the industry's own benchmark, ASHRAE Standard 180. It basically lays out the minimum requirements for doing maintenance the right way. And it focuses on outcomes, things like efficiency and air quality, not just on ticking off a list of tasks. This really should be the professional baseline for everyone.
And this really illustrates the two philosophies perfectly. On the left, you've got your standard checklist maintenance. It's all about tasks, and it just assumes the system is healthy. On the right, you have professional stewardship, and that's all about outcomes. It's about verifying the system's health and, critically, correcting that performance drift before it becomes a big, costly failure.
I know this might still feel a little abstract, so let's look at a perfect real-world example of this hidden waste in action. The humble, often ignored economizer.
This chart shows you a massive gap. Economizers are these simple devices that bring in cool outside air, and they can potentially cut your cooling costs by up to 30%. But the reality? Field studies show that roughly 2/3 of them aren't working right. All of that potential saving is literally just evaporating into thin air. And this report explains exactly why. Under that standard checklist model, technicians simply don't have the time budgeted to actually troubleshoot performance. So the problem isn't a faulty piece of technology, it's a faulty service model. So how do we actually fix this? The answer is a proactive, financially driven strategy that we call Restore and Maintain. Here's the model, broken down into 4 simple steps. Number 1, restore. You go in, find, and correct all the accumulated issues to get the system back to where it should be. 2, stabilize. You verify its operation to stop that performance drift from happening again. 3,
Optimize. You fine-tune the controls for peak efficiency. And finally, 4. Plan. You use all that great data to do proactive asset planning for the future.
And this strategy, it's not just a theory. It delivers real, hard results. A massive analysis by Lawrence Berkeley National Lab on this Restore First approach found that it delivers median energy savings between 5 and 14%.
And the financial case gets even better. That same study found the median payback period for these projects was just 1.7 years. I mean, come on, this isn't an operational expense anymore. It's a high-return investment, plain and simple.
Now, if you're someone who manages a whole portfolio of buildings, the scale of this opportunity just multiplies. You really have to stop thinking about individual units and start managing the economics of your entire fleet of equipment.
Think about it. Rooftop units serve about 60% of all commercial floor space in the U.S. Studies have shown that a single inefficient unit can waste thousands of dollars every single year. Now multiply that across a fleet of dozens or hundreds of units. Suddenly, the savings from professional management become a board-level financial topic. It lets you plan for replacements instead of just reacting to emergencies.
So, let's end right where we started, with a question. If your current HVAC service program isn't measuring and delivering real performance outcomes like efficiency, reliability, asset life, then what exactly are you paying for? Are you managing an asset, or are you just presiding over a liability? Think about it. Thanks for tuning in.